That should work if I can cover this up. And nope, I need a little bit less daylight. Need a little bit less daylight to see my screen. I hope you're doing good, people. There we go. Okay. So, President Biden was in Poland, is my understanding of the whole situation. And people, so that you understand that the nearest city in Ukraine to Poland had been largely left alone, but it's right there at the border, not too far. When Biden was speaking, this is what Putin decided to do as a threat to our president, so that he could hear the bombs go off, okay? And so that it would be close. This was a threat. You see, people, if you're not picking up on this, Putin had them start shelling that city. So while he was speaking, now I don't know if it picked up on the audio on any of the, I don't think it did, on any of the news services while he was speaking, but that was what Putin was doing. This was a threat, okay? So Biden saying that he needs to, not be in power anymore. He's talking about Putin needs to be, not in power. He's right. They can walk it back all they want. They can have an interpreter come out and say, "Oh, he really didn't mean that," or this, that. Well, he's right. And the truth is, Putin is paranoid. The man sits at a 30-foot long table. I mean, you would think it was an air hockey table for Olympic size or something. This thing, it's like for shuffleboard or something, right? Okay. So, basically, he is now at this point, he's so paranoid that he's making videos where he's not even in the room with people, and it's like some type of chroma key or some type of hologram that they're using. His hand goes through the microphone. It was just done wrong. So he was not there with those women that were stewardesses. And why would they be dressed up as stewardesses? Is like, okay, they just wear that all the time? No, that was all so staged. It's for the unintelligent people and the people that might miss something. I pick up on it. I'll throw it out there. Somebody else will pick up on something I didn't even pick up on. We're putting all the pieces together to help people see that the whole thing is a show. Now, okay. So right now, his paranoia, Putin's paranoia, is going to be his downfall, and playing into that, let me plug this up there we go. Playing into that is a whole nother tactic. So saying that there needs to be regime change also works with and bothers Putin's paranoia. You see what I'm saying, people? I'll talk about, don't let me forget to talk about the thumbnail picture I put up. That's the Star Streak. STARSTREAK. It goes Mach 4, several times the speed of sound. There's not an airplane that can run from that. Not going to happen. These are just shoulder fired. They can take anywhere. They can set them up on a little pad and sit beside them with the laptop, chilling, with radar hooked up to them to see where to shoot it. Okay. Yeah. Right now, if I was over the Russian Air Force, I agree with most people that have talked about this. I would be worried. Okay? So, it's kind of hard to be a commander of an Air Force if you ain't got no airplanes. That will happen because just to prove something, they will be stupid and they're going to send them in. And it's going to be... There's going to be... I don't know if they planned on there being a Russian airplane graveyard just outside of Kyiv, but they'll be piling up. I can assure you that. So, and I don't think they're going to go out there and the gypsies are going to pull them with tractors. They don't slide so good, especially if they're in, you know, a bunch of pieces. So, okay. I'm still trying to figure out what's going on with a whole nother thing. I don't even know if I want to talk about that. I have to find out if I'm able to talk about that, about what Putin's doing. But yeah, he's paranoid, and it plays into his paranoia. And paranoia, I look at people that are paranoid and I think of it like a snowball. So they get paranoid that somebody's doing something, and then they worry about it, and then they go further and further and further, and then they wind up at the end of a 30-foot long table. And hopefully they don't hit no nuclear button. But I'm just saying, the truth is, he needs to be paranoid. He needs to be how he is, and there needs to be an understanding. And this is what I get from it, is that if Russia takes care of this little problem that they have, then the rest of the world will then say, okay, now we can deal with you. You know, now we can, everybody, we can go back to before the exercises, before the military. These are just exercises. This is not a war. And those are just yachts out there, by the way, that they're shooting at Ukraine, and Ukraine's taking them out. They're burning well, is what they say. So it's my understanding that the one caught 3 more on fire. I don't know if those other 3 were Russian ships or not, but one ship caught 3 other ships on fire. And it's a whole thing. And they just actually recently, like very recently, Ukraine just actually wound up getting gifted a tank with the thermobaric missiles on it. That was a big deal. So those are the ones with the square tubes, one on the right, one on the left, filled with these thermobaric missiles. I don't know if they'll use those back against Russia. It hadn't been, you know, so far nobody said that it's actually against the Geneva Convention or anything. It's just kind of looked down on and frowned upon. Definitely if they're using on citizens, you know, civilians, which they have. But we are actually feeding into his paranoia. So Putin's paranoid, and this will make him distrust his own generals anyhow. All of it. That's what's going to happen. So for anybody thinking that Biden didn't know what he was talking about or something, no, Biden knew what he was talking about. Okay, and that's snow, by the way, that you're seeing. I've been dealing with that. It's been fun. So they made an announcement, though, that the Starstreak systems are now active and ready to go. So that's kind of a game changer. So there's a lot to it, but right now, like I said, with Putin ordering them at the time that our president is in Poland to bomb that nearest city, that's a threat. I don't care how you look at it. So I'm not the only one who noticed this. They were largely leaving that city alone, period. Okay? That in itself was trying to be an escalation. So I don't know if Biden heard, you know, because sometimes you can hear things that don't pick up on camera. Like I just heard a really loud truck next to me, and if I said, hey, sorry about that truck, you know, you may not even have heard it. This is exactly what I'm saying. I would almost bet money that the people, while he was giving that speech, and him, heard the bombs going off in the neighboring country. And Russia probably used the most acoustic of all of their weapons that they were going to use for that purpose. This was a threat to our president that was in the country next to it, in Poland. So they know that they've killed all those kids. They even put children inside, in Russian on the side of a building. What they do, they hit the building. Then they hit a theater just the other day. They bombed a theater. That's the only thing they know how to do is make rubble. Now the ruble is rubble. And people, it's just for anybody to judge our president for what he was saying, you just didn't probably hear what was going on in the background. So I'm saying this: I'm not a pro-Biden kind of a person. I'm pro-America. I'm pro the United States, and that is our president, and he is our commander-in-chief. And you got to show respect for the office, and you got to show respect for the fact that some things are known that we will never know. That's probably one of them. I'm just giving you an inkling into it. There's a backstory. There's a lot more to it. And so I think even today, them walking back and saying anything about his comments, they didn't have his interpreter out there. That's what I call it. Whenever that Pasaki, I guess her name is, comes out and does that little thing where, he didn't really mean this. Well, on this one, if he didn't mean it, I mean it. And everybody else should mean it. Once you know that he was, shooting rounds in that direction on purpose, as close as he could get to Poland without being in Poland, without there being an escalation. So, things aren't going so well, though, because as it turns out, this 2-day military exercise is a little bit longer than 2 days. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you my knowing, and it's God's number, 40 days. Just like 40 days and 40 nights they were in the ark, 40 days. And that's when the tide will turn. Because it's going to get worse, and it's going to get better, then it's going to get worse, back and forth of each side, and then that's going to happen. So, right now they've got Russian troops that are, okay, they've turned to alcohol instead of diesel fuel at this point. Also, and speaking of alcohol, and they're having a hard time with their supply trucks. It's the dangest thing. They just keep spontaneously combusting. But speaking of alcohol, one particular Russian soldier got into Ukraine. Of course, they told him he was on exercise to the last minute, I'm sure. But he got into Ukraine. He abandoned his vehicle, I guess, or whatever. Maybe they blew up the whole column, and he was one of the last ones. They usually, can't take them all out in one little shot. And he runs off, and they're all hungry. Okay, they're low on food. They're cold. They're having to sleep on the ground. They've even complained as much. One guy called his grandmother and told her all this. I could put the video up of that. That'll explain every soldier out there's dilemma, because he's not the only one. It's all of them. It's so bad that one of them ran over his own commander with a tank, and I think he finally died. They said it ripped his leg or cut his legs or whatever. I think he died, because the first report was that a battalion commander was run over by his own men by a tank. And it wasn't just that tanker. A lot of people was behind him on it. You know what I mean? Because of all of the people that were dying, all their losses. And all those generals are being picked off. And so they're being sent there, I think, so that the last person who's in charge will be Putin. I think he's trying to get rid of his generals. That's the paranoia. This is where I'm at. That's the paranoia he has. That's where I'm at on that. I think he's purposefully sending his all of his generals that he wants to get wiped out to the front and saying, you go down there and take it, and knowing that they're going to be killed, just like in the Bible. So but the one turning to alcohol, the one, now here's the thing. Right now it's illegal to buy or sell alcohol in Ukraine. Zelensky doesn't want anybody drunk. They're being invaded. It makes sense. It's a little rougher on some of them. Some of them are maybe even alcoholics, but it's my understanding that the liquor store is completely closed. But so did he hurt anybody? Not really, because technically he'd be even if they find him, he'd be the only one who could buy alcohol, because his fine would pay for the alcohol he drank. But a Russian soldier broke into a liquor store, drank everything he could, and passed out on top of boxes with bottles all around him. I guess he raked the shelf over onto himself at one point and fell down drunk. I'd like to see the CCTV footage of that, the video footage. And then the next morning, there is a video of this. The next morning of a Ukrainian soldier saying, Ruski, wake up, you need to get up and, either fight or surrender, whatever. And he didn't want to get up. And he was sitting there rolling around drunk on these boxes. It was really comical. So that is the morale right now of the Russian troops. That's where they're at. They are demoralized. They know that the world's looking at them. Because if they find out anything, they find out it's from the world. They know the world already knows, and then they didn't even know, and they know that they're being looked at as the enemy right now. Even though we do have some understanding, and we're intelligent enough to know that it's not all Russian people, and it's not, and the troops don't know what they're doing. Just like I said, it was going to happen before it happened. People didn't know they were going to even invade Ukraine. I said it. I also said, hey, it's going to be the charge of the Light Brigade. Oh no, nobody can stop big Russia. Oh well, not from what I saw, not from what I was shown. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news before it happens, but that's just how these things happen. That Russia doesn't stand a chance in this, and it's going to be cannon fodder. Well, so all of their troops are feeling this, and now it's gotten to the point where they know that all they have to that they can attack and fight and actually have some type of a dominance over is if they kill citizens, and they're being ordered to do so. That's demoralizing. They don't even want to be there. So one commander, it's my understanding that one general shot himself in the head. Okay, so out of the fact that one guy got ran over by a tank, dudes getting drunk in the liquor store and passed out, they lost something like 6 or 7 generals, and one that was a high colonel something. They called him something different. And then this one guy, I'm not sure if he was one that was under house arrest or what his situation was, but one high-ranking general shot himself in the head, committed suicide. In the end, it's just like I said in Zechariah, just like I read. If you take out the shepherd, then his sheep will scatter. All of those shepherds, that'll be Putin too, but all of those shepherds are being taken out, and there won't be any leadership. Some people will get promoted. Somebody has to fill the ranks. But what would you call that? And if the ones that are in charge right now, who are used to their old World War I tactics of just shelling a place and hoping for the best, and then walking in if there's nothing left, but they're not used to all these losses, they can't get their head wrapped around it. How is someone younger who's going to be forced to use those same older tactics that don't even understand the older tactics going to know what to do about all the losses because of a different response? Just keep sending more to the battlefield. Like I said, it's going to turn into Vietnam. Period. So, Russia will continue to send more and more. They're starting to get their troops sent back in caskets, body bags, and a lot of them are not even being picked up off the battlefield. It's about somewhere between 14 and 17,000 Russian troops have been killed. That's a lot of people. I told you before, there will be a shortage of headstones. I said all this before it ever even popped off. I saw this. But this right now, what Putin's doing, his mind is going into a type of a paranoia that is snowballing and it can't come out. So Biden saying that is the perfect response for him sending missiles into the closest city to Poland and making our president hear that. Because even though it didn't pick up on the mics, I picked up on it. I'll bet you he heard it. So, he didn't misspeak. And I agree with it. So, anybody wants to say anything, because I'll tell you what's going to happen. I already know, though. But it's not fair, right? But no, I just showing a vision, you know. But say what you want. I'm going to finish up some nachos. And I'm going to get a nap. I'm going to get back to work. Lots of work, people. And don't be concerned so much with a supply of food. I know they put that up on the internet and all this stuff. We can use natural fertilizer. There's other things that we can do to grow food, and I'm not stopping. And I don't know any truckers that's hauling food. I'm not stopping. You're not going to stop me. I'm working. So there will continue to be a supply line. Now, it'll be expensive because diesel's going to go up. Diesel's a little something I'm watching. Diesel's a little something I'm concerned about. We're always as truckers, we're always concerned about it because it's the one thing that we can move with. And if we ain't got it, we can't move. I'm hoping the weather breaks and finishes this up. I'm not too up to speed on the whole thing with people controlling the weather, but I'll say that it's better if it's freezing and snowing here than if it's frozen enough for tanks to roll into Kyiv. I'm gonna say that. That was my thought yesterday. I'll go with that. There's a lot going on in those. Okay, so those Starstreak missiles, Mach 4, 4 times the speed of sound. Boy howdy. I'm saying, and they're accurate. There won't be a Russian Air Force because they'll keep sending them in and there won't be one. Now, debunk me on that one and go, oh, well, it couldn't. Oh, never surrender. I'm sure that where's the Russian bots at? Where's the Russian trolls that whenever somebody, when I put something up that they want to make a comment and, death before dishonor and all that garbage. Where you at? Where y'all at? Come out the woodwork, make a comment, and then make sure you come back and comment when it happens. I'm just a truck driver. I'm just a stupid truck driver. What do I know, right? Dumb trucker. Well, as it turns out. Now, here's the problem. Let's go to the nth degree. Because I don't know exactly when it's going to happen with Putin. Putin has got a lot of things at his disposal that are not tied to the military. A lot of them are able to be stopped. He's got a biker gang, but they can't even go into Poland if Poland says no and turns them around. They were going to go on that trip, try to recreate the Russians going into Germany. Well, somebody wants to talk about Nazis. I want to talk about those guys because honestly, even though they're going that way, the dude says he's from many different nationalities. I think it's because part of it's Germany. I've seen pictures of something that looked like a German something in his shop. There's a lot going on with that guy. And a whole group of them. But they're known to go into these countries and so-called police, whatever, for Putin when he attacks those countries. Well, That's one thing he's got. Not much of a threat. No problem. Then he's got the Wagner Group. Well, good news is he's already sending them in. That will be a short-lived event. And then he has those subs. And he has the ability to cut off the internet. Well, not Starlink. I think Elon Musk's stock just went up, right? Well, with that alone. So, they are not part of the Russian Navy. They report right to Putin. So, that could be a problem. The bigger ships that take them there are supposed to be in the Navy, though. So, I don't know how many of them have been missing. Can we say missing? You know. And it's not like the real Osharik. All those balls can't just roll back together. Now, that's another thing he does have. But what do I know? Just dumb truck driver. Anyway, those are some banging chips. Taco Bell, we appreciate it. Good stuff. Yeah. I have to say, I'm watching those super yachts pretty close. If anybody's playing along at the home game and tracking ships, ship tracker, but there's people who do look after them. I think it was France that just seized 2 more of them. I don't know what their safe haven will be. One guy's got one off the coast of Africa. It seems like, much like the Nazis, when the Nazis were running away and fleeing from the fight and in full retreat, the oligarchs are all running away, trying to find safe haven. I think it's off the coast of Africa, but I don't know how much of a short-lived event that will be. So, there's lots of different small countries in Africa, and I'm not sure which one they're hiding under. But they did lose, all of them lost their flag. That guy's going to be famous. Did y'all see that? Okay. So they lost their flag. A lot of them were flagged under man, what was that country? I have to look it up. Anyways, it's not a false flag. It's just that you can, register a ship under any country, and if you don't want to have a big Russian flag on it, well, then you use another country. Those countries have taken away their right to use that flag, and they have decertified their certification. So they're going to have to, get another flag of some country, and nobody's going to help them. So they can't fly a flag, except the white one, that big white one, surrender one. But they're having a difficult time, and it's going to be, like I said, I don't know how long they'll be able to hide out in Africa, and I don't know about the ones over in Turkey. So, and one disappeared. They're turning off they're not supposed to turn off their, it's like a GPS system, transponder, that's supposed to always, send out a signal where they're at, it's maritime law. The only reason you can turn them off is if you're going to get a refit. You know, you go and put them in the shop, or in dry dock or whatever. You're not really even supposed to turn them off unless it's for safety reasons. Say you're being followed by pirates and you think they're using that. It would be stupid to turn it off. I'd want everybody to know where I was at that point. But so they're doing that, and that's illegal. They could actually probably seize their boat just for them doing that all the time. But one guy's got 2 helicopters and I think he has, does he have an Airbus airplane? He's got some kind of a big airplane. I don't want to say the wrong word and get somebody mad at me, but this one oligarch has got a jet airplane that's a passenger plane and 2 helicopters. And they have been decertified, so now he can't fly them. I'm not sure if the helicopters are on his boat and strapped down. Probably, because he probably tried to take everything with him. Of course, you know, if nobody sees him do anything, he could, you know, hop onto an island off of it or something and park it there. But he's not supposed to be able to fly them. So I'm not sure when that certification, maybe they can seize those also independently if they just landed on an island. I don't know. I think they need to out the country in Africa that's giving these people safe haven, that's harboring the enemy in a way, the enemy of the world, if you figure that it's ill-gotten money. So they basically, for a very long time, they've been not only stealing from their own country, but stealing from other countries. So there's a whole bunch, by the way, there's a whole bunch of news people who are turning the world on its end. They secretly are going after all of these oligarchs, rich people, all kinds of people, and outing where they are hiding their money under fake companies, like I don't know if it's Cayman Islands or I don't know which islands, offshore companies that don't exist. Some are even in, I think one was in the UK, I'm not sure. And that's how they know what a lot of these oligarchs have, is from those papers. I'll put a link up to those. There's about 3 different things, and they have agreed even what date to let them out and all this stuff. It's pretty crazy. But that's turning the world on end, and people are noticing. Each release that they do is called this papers or that papers or that papers. So I looked at that. I'm going to have to look at that again. But the reporters are upending the world. And people are running by. You would think that this was a war zone. Seriously, people. There's people driving by and running by. What's that about? Trying to be famous on my live stream. Got me looking out. No, it's just cold and they are seemingly underdressed. It's been very cold. So I'm gonna get off this thing. God bless you, people. I wanted to bring that up, that anybody that criticizes Biden for what he says may not have picked up on what he heard. Because if you're standing there at a podium, somebody's dropping a bomb close enough that you would hear the percussion from it. Like, you might not have heard that a truck just pulled up next to me, but now you heard the brakes. It's like that. He had every right to say whatever he wanted to. He's got freedom of speech. They can't walk that back. So, God bless you, people. I'm gonna get off this thing. I'm out. Peace. Oh, one more thing. Slava Ukrainu. I think I said that right. Glory to Ukraine. Just saying. Keep knocking those tanks out. We love the pictures. And Happy Chip, your stuff's good too. All right, I'm off this thing. I'm out. Peace.